Just super exciting. I think I've said it before. I've said it a lot of times, but just a lot of support and love coming out there. So I was just super excited and very honored to play wear Baylor's jersey.
Dre, you started your career at Utah. Does that make this any more special?
I mean, yeah, kind of, just because I know that's where I started. It's like a full circle all over again. So I'm super excited, ready to play.
Are you and Coach Roberts cordial, or was it?
I think we're cordial. We haven't really spoke since I left, but we didn't leave off on bad terms, so I think we're good.
Okay, thank you.
Trey, how do you take a performance kind of like when you opened up the season into a big-time matchup like this? Like, what do you think you need to do to help your team kind of compete in this one?
I think I just need to bring the same mentality. I got to definitely bring that same field goal percentage. If I can go 9 for 9 or 9 for 10 again, I would definitely do that. But, just come in, bring that same fire, that same, super excitement, and just joy to be out there with my teammates. So.
We've seen plenty of top teams go down over the first week and ranked unranked matchups. I guess, how are you embracing this challenge and opportunity with another top 20 matchup?
I think it's a really good opportunity for our team to show how capable we are to compete with the top five. I think we're a really good team, and I think it's going to be a really good matchup tomorrow night.
Denae, obviously y'all had a lot of practice together leading up to that first game, but how much different is it after that first game? How much can you learn? How much better are practices after that?
There's a lot to learn after the first game. We need to work on some things that we know. Obviously, Utah is a very different opponent than Southern was, so obviously we've had to change the game plan a little more. But just kind of keeping the main things, like our defense has got to be really good tomorrow night for it to be a really good game.
Dre, I think it was in between or after a timeout in both the exhibition and against Southern, I saw you literally mimicking the cheerleaders. Dancing. I guess, how much pride do you take in bringing that energy and the good vibes to this team?
I think I'm definitely one of the energy players for the team. But I just like to have fun. So I think that's just a moment for me in the game where we're not really on the court playing. So I like to make fun, have fun with the cheerleaders as well. They're my girls too. So yeah.
Speaking of fun, tomorrow night is the Eras night. Would you all consider yourselves Swifties?
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't realize I knew as many Taylor Swift songs as I did when we did our media thing. So I might be a Swiftie girl. Yes, call me that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say the same. She's all right. I like some of her songs, but not a lot.
Well, you're going to hear a lot tomorrow.
Right.
Definitely, all game.
Dre, how would you describe Denae's game, what she brings to the team?
I think Denae is, I think you guys already know she's a shooter, so she's definitely going to open the floor, space the floor out for people. But, I think she can also attack and take it to the cup as well. She kind of just brings that energy as well. She's definitely one of our energy players for sure in the game and in practice as well. But, yeah, she's definitely going to be someone who can space the floor and get us open. Nobody can help off her. She's going to knock down them shots, so.
Dre, obviously back here, did some great work in the post against Southern, but with Utah, they've got some size and obviously some All-American names in there. Do you see it kind of as a good challenge, or how do you kind of view some of those matchups?
I definitely do think it's going to be a good challenge, but I think that's where my versatility comes in. Like you said, they definitely have strength in the post, so I might just have to bring them out a little bit, but I can't tell you guys too much of my game plan. So.
How much was the focus, or has the focus been on defending the three? Because I heard they made 21 threes in their last game.
Yeah, it's been a really big focus for us this week, knowing that that's a big part of their game. We have to stop them at the 3-point line and make them hit tough twos on us. We can't let them get out in transition and hit those threes. Obviously, once they take that away, it'll be a game changer.
Hey, Denae, you were talking about defense here. I'm curious. Last year you were at Iowa State, which was primarily a zone team. This year you're primarily man-to-man team. How is that adjustment coming for you, and has it been hard?
When I first got here, it took a bit of time to get adjusted to that. Obviously, like you said, we were primarily zone at Iowa State. And here it's just we're way more intense on our man-to-man defense and getting up into people. So, it took some time, but I feel like we're all there on the same page. So.
Today, kind of going along with those adjustments, you guys as a team are having to adjust to a bunch of new pieces, including yourself kind of entering the program. How do you guys kind of take that next step against such a high-profile team coming up
I really think it just comes with us all coming together and playing together and not playing selfish basketball. I mean, we're all really good players, and what's going to be a difference maker tomorrow is how well we play together. Like I said, we're all really good separately, but we got to really come together tomorrow night.
Anything else? Thanks, ladies.
Thanks, ladies.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, Palmer was solid in that game. He's making 7 of them. Yeah, they're really a veteran team. They know who they are. They know where they're going when games are on the line. When you have an All-American center that you can play to, and then, kind of a versatile guard in Neepkins that can get to the basket, is also their best three-point shooter by percentage. That they have those 2 kids, and then they just surround them with really, really good players, that are, I think McQueen, you just feel like if you leave her open, she's going to make a 3. You just can't give her open threes. But she knows her strength. She takes no mid-range shots. It's layups and threes. Johnson is just the ultimate role player, but I don't mean that in any kind of her role is to get other people open, to finish at the rim. I mean, she makes threes. They don't play to her as much, but she will post mismatches, and so I think they're starting 5 with Palmer shooting the basketball as well. She was super low volume. She's made almost a third of the total number of threes through 2 games that she made all last year. So with Palmer being more aggressive, searching her shot from 3, I think they're a team that top 5 in scoring last year. They know who they are. They move the ball. The ball doesn't stick. They're really pretty on offense.
What aspects of Peely's game make her so dominant?
Yeah, she leverages well. She's got really good feel around the rim. She can get you under the rim and kind of reach back. She can score over either shoulder. And then, man, if you leave her alone in the trail, in the middle third of the floor, she's really good from 3 in the middle third. She also doesn't fire them, one after the other, but, late game situation, she's a shot taker and a shot maker. But I think on the low block, she'll reverse pivot, face you, attack you, get leverage. She's obviously not at 6'2". She's not the tallest, but she's strong. She's smart. She understands angles, and she uses her body really well to create advantages.
Do you feel like you present some pieces to maybe slow her down just a little bit or try to?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of different matchups that we can use that way. I think, we have to take advantage of we're going to have a hard time one-on-one against her, but you always have to – I think you have to make a decision against Utah whether you're going to go make them play 2x2x2 or bring double teams and with the opportunity for them to kick it out, because I think she's a good passer too. And so if you allow her to pass it out and then you're in rotations all night, you're going to give up threes. And so you're not going to win a game giving up 21 made threes. And I think they're a team that can really cook from out there. So, we have to single her up as much as we can. But I do think, I think the way that we can play offensively could potentially bother them. And, we're just going to have to match them physically. And I think and use our athleticism both in the half court and in the transition against them.
Are they primarily a man-to-man team?
Yes, yeah. They played a little 2-3 last year. They pressed, did a little bit of a 1-2-2. They'll show it, but yeah, they're a predominantly man team. They're a lot like in our league, maybe not as specific, but similar to like an Iowa State in terms of scheming. They guard people hard that make shots. They space off and play. They really play scouting reports. If they, there are teams that we play that regardless of whether a kid is a three-point shooter, they're going to deny out to the arc because that's who they are. But this is a team that if you can't shoot, they're gonna keep 2 feet in the paint and make you beat them out there. So I would say particularly scout heavy, but they use their length. Their help side is really, really good. So I think they play really good team defense.
Do you think having 8 days of rest is more of an asset or a liability coming into a tough game this early in the season?
Won't know, obviously, until we play. This was supposed to be a part of a 3-game WNIT where we would have played Thursday and Saturday. See, the original plan was to play a couple extra games. We did bring officials and play a full game against our guys' practice squad on Thursday to try to at least kind of get a game type feel in between. Obviously, the lights aren't on. There aren't fans in the stand, but just to play a 40-minute game with officials, with free throws, kind of the whole. So do I wish we had played another game? Of course. The thing you don't want to overdo with 18 to 22-year-olds is give them too much information. Sometimes, like, wanting to dive too early into an opponent and have their head spinning because you want them to remember every play they run and the play call and things like that. Like, I think you have to balance, that focus still being on us and us getting better all the way around offensively and defensively, combined with finding ways to prep, for Utah during that, but not get so consumed with we're working on this play, then we're working on this play, and but more conceptually, getting them to understand this is a team that ices ball screens, so we have to be better in our execution against ice, and we're gonna have to do that all season long. Kansas in our league ices, Texas Tech ices some, so there are certainly other opponents on our schedule that you have to be able to run your ball screen offensive effectively against a lot of different type of ball screen coverage. So, I would say there's advantage and disadvantage.
Nicki, you all have a lot of kind of experience in these high-profile matchups, given the toughness of the conference, anyways. What about these non-conference high-profile matchups really intrigue the team, and do you think having that kind of experience in those tough matchups kind of helps with that?
I think it's great for our fan base. I think getting people out early to get a good look. I know a lot of times people think, oh, well, I'm not going to come out to that game because that's, going to be a blowout. That's a buy-in game, that type of thing. And I think so from an excitement perspective, hopefully, we've been able to get the community excited about supporting this team. And I think it's a win-win for us, and I've never been a sandbagger and I've never been overly confident. I just tend to call it like I see it. I think we're talented enough to compete with this team. I don't think there's any doubt that where they're at, knowing that they return all 5 starters, that they return their top 7 scorers, that they know who they are, and they know they can play through the Conference Player of the Year, who's a 5th-year senior. Neepkins had an amazing year last year and will continue, I'm sure, to be a go-to. But to see Palmer rise up and make shots and, you want to think maybe, hey, that's someone we can dig off of a little bit. And then she hit 7 threes in the last game, and that throws that out the window. But I think it's an early test for us to see where we're at. We're going to get our players' attention one way or the other. We're going to see who rises to the occasion in these type of matchups. And we know, like, that we're putting together a team that has different starters from a year ago and has a chance to really, really grow and be really good. And how quickly can we gel? How quickly can we buy into, like, hey, this is what we think Utah is going to do. Here's how we can exploit it. How well do we do that? How well are we taking coaching and implementing it in live action? And whether the shots fall or they don't fall, for me, it's about are we learning? Are we growing? Are we making the right plays? And if the shots don't fall, then we're going to have to guard the heck out of them, which we're going to have to do anyway. You look at their wins versus losses last year, and they didn't have many losses. They scored 86 in their wins and 66 in their losses. You have to guard them hard if you are going to want any chance to win. And they're top 5 in the country for a reason. They've earned that. They earned it over the course of the last year, and until someone knocks them off, like, there's no reason to believe they're not the same team and even better.
Nicki,
What were your expectations going into that first game and maybe some takeaways from it?
don't know that I just, for the most part, you want your team to show up and compete hard. You want them to make the right pass. You want them to be unselfish. You want them to understand where the mismatch. Like at first I thought it was really interesting that Southern matched their 5-player. They started 4 guards and 1 post player against us, and they chose to match their post player up to Asia, which seemed really, really confusing to me at the time. And then, you dive deeper and you think about the fact that over the course of her career, she's done the majority of her damage in the lane, and she does it with such a physical presence that they probably looked at it and said, she's maybe their most physical starter. Let's put our 5 on her. Well, what that allowed is Dre to go to work on a guard in the lane, because they truly played 4 guards. And so, you have to see, like, what are the matchups? Who do they think they can play off of? Where do we have to go? You guess a little bit, as a coach, but you still have to see it unfold. And did I think like I thought they would think? And so Southern really was just live game action, playing in front of fans, playing in a game that mattered, that was going to count in the standings, who was ready to play, who was going to be really dialed into what the scout was and take away, certain things. And I think the best thing Southern did is what all early games do, is it gives you tape. It gives you tape to evaluate bugs. You can't go under screens on shooters. Like, you can't do those things. And sometimes seeing it, it helps you adjust. Like, Bugs is prideful. Like, she doesn't want to give up threes. It's not ever a situation where she's a kid, or really any of our kids don't care, if they give up a shot that they shouldn't give up. But it's about making the right adjustments, and certainly, Utah is probably going to find a way to screen whoever Bugs is guarding in this next game. So, it's a challenge. You've seen it. It's coming. We're getting ready to face a team that shoots it better than almost anybody in the country. I mean, in our league, the comparison is OU to how they play. The difference is this team beat OU by 40 last year. And I'll give OU a break on that to some degree. They went to altitude and played back-to-back days at BYU and Utah. You just, don't play back-to-back unless you're in a tournament setting, and you certainly don't do it at altitude. So I don't think they were themselves, but I also think that shows you how potent Utah's offense is.
Coach, I know beginning of last week or before the 7th game, Sarah was kind of on a limited plan, but she played 25, and with this being top 5 team, Doug's mentioned future Big 12 opponent. Is this a game where you kind of have to weigh the risk of her playing 30 plus, or how is she feeling after the 8 days rest?
I think she's still working her way into being, it's not how many minutes, it's about how many effective minutes, and I think that's the important thing. Like, we have to weigh when we need to rest her just from an effective perspective more than it's just, hey, she can only go 28 or she can go 30 minutes. It's like, what is she giving us in those minutes? And is she getting to the point? Because there's a difference in 25 minutes against a top 5 opponent and 25 minutes where you're just trying to get her feet wet and make sure she starts to get her conditioning up. And so, I'd like to believe she's making progress day by day, but this will be another challenge for her. She certainly is a player that I want to leave out there. We talked the last year that Caitlin Bickle was my security blanket. And, with losing her, that's Sarah now. Like, Sarah's the one that knows when to get a step up and when to drag and what the reads are when the coverage is deep drop coverage. And, I think we've got a lot of kids that can make plays. I think Jada can make jump shots against drop coverage. I think we can do a lot of things, but Sarah really understands what we're looking for when teams play us a certain way. And so, but it's going to come down to her conditioning. She's going to have to guard at a high level. The last game, we were able to rest her to some degree defensively. Southern played with the ball in the middle third, the whole time. They ran a lot of horns actions. If you were guarding their corner kids, you could kind of take a break sometimes for 10, 12, 15 seconds. You know, we wanted them more engaged, but ultimately the action was the point and their two other players in the middle, whether they were pinning or flaring or playing out of that rescreen type stuff. So that's not what we're going to see. We're going to see the ball move sideline to sideline. So everyone's going to have to be engaged. You know, throughout the course of a possession, because this is the kind of team where if one person isn't where they're supposed to be, they're going to get an easy shot. And it's just going to come down to whether they make it or not.
Nicki, you commented on Jada a while ago. Could you talk about how she and Yaya both are progressing? You had earlier said to me Jada was thinking too much. Kind of talk about it.
Yeah, I think it's helped playing with Sarah a little bit. I thought as the Southern game went along, she got more and more confident. Just, you know, it's that whole idea of I struggle a lot as a coach when our point guards play slow. You know, I want them to first and foremost play fast, and it's hard to play fast when you're thinking as you're dribbling. And so really getting her in the mode of like her package being smaller when she's at the point. Here are your options. You know, if it's a dead ball, I'll call it. If it's not a dead ball, you know, here are your options and secondary actions that you can get us into. So I think she's getting more comfortable in that. I think playing with Sarah, you know, when she is at the point and Sarah's off the ball, you know, we're going to play to Sarah a lot. You know, if she's playing off the ball, I think she's already kind of more comfortable because that's what she's done her whole college career. So then it's, you know, search your jump shot, search your attack, really getting her to understand where the space is for her to be successful. But I think she's made a lot of strides, you know, just in terms of her confidence. And I thought the Southern game, making threes, but also just decisions in transition, she got better. And Yaya, I mean, Yaya gets it at the offensive end. She's still learning the defensive side of the ball. You know, I think that's her biggest challenge. She's and it's not a want to. She wants to be good. It's a discipline. It's not a discipline like she doesn't want to be disciplined. She just, you know, tends to relax. And right when she relaxes, someone cuts or she runs into a screen or, you know, and so it's about being engaged, you know, throughout the course of a possession. She's a player that can attack downhill to score, but learning, I thought she took a couple bad shots in the last game when we know this is a team that's going to congest. Southern at times, we stopped film and showed them they had 10 feet in the paint on us, you know, so they really congested whether they were in zone or man. You know, and I believe Utah, the nature of what they're willing to give up versus not give up, they tend to congest really, really well. And they're going to congest with more length than we saw against Southern. So are we touching the paint and making good decisions? The play is oftentimes going to be a kick out and not a drop, you know? And so really getting her to play on balance and search a penetration, but play under control is going to be key. But I think it's Yaya's light bulb is going to get real bright when she can stay engaged defensively from a game plan perspective, like through entire possessions, because she's ultra talented and she can make defensive plays, you know, but she ball watches, you know, a little too much, and that's when someone gets cuts on her or does something, and you know, it just takes one second to have someone, you know, take advantage of you.
Well, I know you've got a meeting at 1:30, so thank you for doing this.
Thanks.